IVM.
So you need to interact with people and give them other perspectives, because for these teenagers, they think stone pelting is only way of expressing their anger. But to me, there are other forms of, and when we were performing, that was our goal, that there are other ways of means where you can express yourself rather than the stone or the gun, and people will be more interested in listening to those stories or those narratives if you choose, and it's up to you which suits you. But I think there are other ways. I'm not saying this is wrong, that's right, but I'm saying there are many other ways where you can express yourself.
Welcome to Anything But Bollywood. We are talking to Shahnawaz Bhat. He is a Kashmiri actor. We actually met through a mutual friend, and since he was in town for Mami, I thought it would be a great opportunity to speak with him. He starred in Harud, a film that went to the Toronto Film Festival in 2010. It also won a national award. He has also starred in Bajrangi Bhaijaan, and his new film Half Widow is releasing this year. Hi Shahnawaz, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
So I wanted to start by asking, how did you get into acting? You grew up in Srinagar. How did that happen for you?
Acting in 2009, I had done one small role in a college play at like 2007. That was my final year. So I had that much experience, 30 seconds of experience. And then I saw an advertisement in newspaper that Mr. Nasiruddin Shah is going to conduct a workshop in Kashmir. And I auditioned for that and I got selected. And he trained us for 10 days. And in between that time, Aamir had come to cast for his Harud. And he liked my face actually. That fitted the character. That's how I got into that.
How old were you when Harud happened?
I guess 22, 23.
Okay. And before Harud, your acting experience had only been whatever this
30
workshop.
seconds, yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. You were so young in Harud, and it was a amazing performance. It was a very powerful performance. So you also, before Harud, did you also do a short? There was a short film. There was Tamash?
Tamash was after that.
Was after Harud. Oh, okay. So Harud was like your first kind of experience ever.
Yeah, ever.
Okay. So how did you prepare for the character, and what was that whole experience like?
Since I didn't knew that much about acting, so I tried to understand the character and what director wanted me to do and how I would react to that situation. So that was my preparation at that time. So for example, there's this scene when my friends are talking about that he's talking to another friend that you should go to that singing TV show because your voice is superstar. But at that time I was thinking about my brother. He had also his dreams, but those dreams didn't come up, and he was taken away from us. So I was constantly just thinking what this character might go through at that time. That's why he was dejected, having his space. Even he's with his friends, but there was this loneliness, and I also used my loneliness in that film. Like everything was new to me and everything was alien to me, the camera, everyone, and I didn't expect that, and I felt like really scared by that, and I used that to my advantage, and so I kept my loneliness, so I brought those emotions in me, and I think that helped.
And was there anything like you felt with the character, that any similarity in terms of your life and the character's life?
I was like that actually. So even after a few years, you couldn't hear me. Like when we were in Dubai, I was nominated Best Actor there for Harud. So Shankar would talk to me and he couldn't hear me. Even we were like just one chair to each other. He couldn't hear me. I had no confidence in me. I was so scared of everything. So many suppressions since childhood you see. So I had to really find that after doing Harud. So I could relate to this character, this loneliness, which I also felt as an individual.
And your experience growing up in Kashmir, what was that like? I mean, there's a lot of, in some sense, a lot of violence that touches everyone's lives. So for you growing up, what was it like?
It was when I was very young. So the bloodshed would happen, and we had a martyrs graveyard next to our house, like on the road, so 1 minute away. So when their bodies would be shown there and buried there, everyone would go, women would sing, and we would go there, and I could still smell the blood which was on the shroud. And then in 2009 and 10, I went to a village where my mom lives, like her parents. So I studied there for 2 years, and there was so many encounters were there. And then next morning, army would come up and beat up the neighbors, and that frightened me really well. So after coming back to Sti, I had not seen that, the army beating up people. So after coming back to Sti, I would shiver when I see the cop. So I had to work on that.
So it was very real for you, whatever this character was going through.
Yeah.
How did you eventually manage to kind of overcome that lack of confidence that you had?
I joined since Shankar pointed out many points in me, and I took that.
This is Shankar, the DOP of the film.
Yeah, Shankar Raman. So I took that as a positive criticism and thought maybe I should work on it. And since after Harud, I didn't want to come to Bombay. I wanted, because I had no experience, so I wanted first to learn. So I was searching for theatre group, and it took me a year to find that in Kashmir. He was an NSD pass out, Mr. Bashir Bhavani. So I went there, and first thing I told them that you cannot hear me. This is my voice, and I have to do theatre, and I have no confidence. And he gave me a role of it was a folk play, with contemporary elements. So he gave me a role of a villager who sings, who dances, and who is comical, and also has been subjugated by the rulers, and everyone has been teased. So that role really helped me to overcome that.
So this was in the theatre?
Yeah, theatre. Then we also did theatre therapy. This lady called, her name is Mahnoor. She does a lot of theatre. Like since 20 years, she's doing theatre as a therapy in Palestine. So she came to Kashmir, and we did that workshop, and that also really helped me as an individual to face my fears and talk about them.
The director of Harud, it was Aamir Bashir, who also is an actor, was an actor before he turned director. So what did you learn about acting or filmmaking from him?
He would give you instructions that he wouldn't tell me that you have to feel this way or that way. He told me that you have to hit these marks and this is your action. He wouldn't explain me what he's going through, that I have to do on my own. He would expect me to do that, and he would only tell me that this is the blocking, this is the choreography, and this is your space. And then, because they knew if I get so many instructions, then I may mess it up. So he would limit that and see what I can do.
So you had some amount of freedom to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. It took me, like, first 15 days were really tough for me. I wanted to get out of the project because I thought I am doing really bad and I'm not giving them what they want. And I knew I am new and they cannot expect that much from me. But after 15 days, I knew that how it's going and how I have to do and all that. So
how long was the shoot?
It was 30 days.
And it was all shot at one stretch?
Yeah, one stretch on 16 mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your festival experience like with Harud? Did you have any expectations for your career after the film, and did you feel like it opened doors for you?
Uh, I had no expectations because I didn't know what struck me. The film, it came out of the blue, and I didn't know the industry and how people would react to it, and so there was no expectation, but it helped me a lot to understand the craft and understand that I have that thing in me that which, if I can channel properly, can make me a better actor. And then that process is going on continuously.
And the festival experience, did you end up going to the festivals?
Yeah,
and what was that whole experience like?
I went to Dubai where I was nominated Best Actor, and I had not gone out of the country before. So when we came out of the airport, there were huge buildings, and I was thinking like it's like a video game. The buildings are popping up, and then the party and everything, and I was shocked. It was a really cultural shock to me because in Kashmir we sleep at 10 and the life begins there at 10. So I saw many people who were big, but I didn't know. So for me, they were just normal people, and I didn't think of them like, okay, he's the director of that festival or he's the big actor. I should be excited to see them. For me, I was just an observant, but really scared.
The language of Harud and also of your new film, Half Widows, is Urdu and Hindi, and it's not Kashmiri. So
Half Widow, there is like 30% of Kashmiri in it.
Okay, and so this choice, I know you're not making this choice, it's the directors that are kind of making this choice, but why do you think filmmakers are not making Kashmiri language films? And
first of all, we don't have theatre in Kashmir. There are theatres in Jammu, but not in Kashmir. So that means if we think of in the light of release, so Indian audience, they don't like subtitled films. So you have to make it in Hindi or Urdu so that they understand it. So that's one thing I think they smartly do. And for international audience, language doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah, but I mean, with Harud, I kind of felt it. I felt like the Urdu didn't feel to me like natural. It felt like it was a learned kind of way of speaking, and it was not the first language kind of the characters. Maybe
that's how we speak. But that's our nativized Urdu.
Yeah.
But I had asked Aamir, do you want us a polished version of Urdu or like the way we speak with friends? He said, no, the way you speak. And it was only for this release thing, otherwise it wouldn't get a release, that's why. But he wanted it to be as raw as it can be.
So you said that there aren't any movie theatres. So then, as artists, basically as filmmakers, as actors, you are almost making stories about Kashmir, but it's never for a Kashmiri audience.
Yeah, that's sad. But the films which are coming up from Kashmir, the narratives which are coming up, speak about the depression or the sadness or the oppression Kashmiris feel. And I think everyone in Kashmir knows that, and the world needs to know more about that. That's why it's important for other people to know about it rather than Kashmiris.
Yeah, and I think actually that's the big, and I feel like the strongest way that those stories come out, because there isn't so much the media coverage about Kashmir is negligible. I mean, especially in big cities, I don't think we get any kind of coverage of Kashmir, of what is really going on. And so for me, I mean, all my knowledge of Kashmir is really from a lot of these films, which is a film like Harud and a documentary like Jashan-e-Azadi.
Yeah.
So those films really become kind of a carriers, right, of the story of Kashmir.
Yeah.
And so for the people of Kashmir, then, in terms of what do they get to consume and what do they get to watch, and is it all mainstream Bollywood that's going out to in the theatres in Jammu? And
Mostly that's the case. But when Harud came on national channel and people of Kashmir could watch it, or on DD Urdu, and it's a really difficult movie to understand also for Kashmiri people who have always watched the masala films. For them they get it that the message is there, but they don't get the story how, because it plays with the silences and it plays with the visuals.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily an easy film to watch.
Yeah, so someone would recognize me on the street, and like this Dudhwala in our area would say, "अरे मैंने तुम्हारा वो देखा and पर तुम कोई बात ही नहीं करते हो, एटलीस्ट एक दो पत्थर ही मारने थे या गोलियां मारनी थी या गालियां देनी थी." बट आई सेड डायरेक्टर ने बोला कि नहीं करना है. तो some say that I saw it but I didn't understand it, and some say like मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी और मैंने 7 बार देखी किसी ने. So it depends कौन कितना कनेक्ट कर पाता है फिल्म के साथ.
But that's good that it got a television release.
Yeah, Kashmiris got to watch it. So.
Yeah. What was your experience working on Half Widow? I mean, this was in terms of the production, it was a very different scale, I would imagine, than Harud.
Yeah.
It looks like a much bigger budget kind of.
No, it's
film.
less budget
is
than.
It? I don't know, but it just looked. I mean, just from the trailer, that's the sense that you kind of get.
Half Widow, like Danish was shooting for illegal in Kashmir. That is his feature film. So and he had written this short film, so he showed it to his producers. They liked it, so they put some more money in it and said like, okay, you're making illegal, make Half Widow also, because the DOP was from LA. So when they saw the film Half Widow, they liked it much, and they said, let's make it into a feature, otherwise...
Oh, so there's a short film...
It was a short film, so it was, and then they built the script around it, and the short film and the other part got...
So is that short film out?
No.
Okay.
It's part of now the feature film.
Okay.
So they built the script around 5 months, and then we were shooting. And there were so many problems for us, like when we shot the feature film version, then they did editing, and they wanted some shots to be shot. They were lacking some transition shots, and when they came back, it was 2016, and entire Kashmir was shut, and this one orphanage where we had shown the school was occupied by army, and we had to shoot there because we had no time, so got through political channels and all that, and somehow managed to pull it off and got that. So but as an actor, Half Widow, the characters are really emotionally tough for me to play, or Nilofer, who is playing the lead, or Sarwar Bhai, because we have gone through so much of this and we could relate to it, and there were so many nervous breakdowns, and it took like half an hour or something to come out of it, so we took a break. So I had 2-3 breakdowns, Nilofer had so many. So it's really tough for us to, like, as an actor, to be doing that.
Actually, as an actor, you're almost, I mean, usually people act so that you can play other characters and other roles, right? And you can kind of, in some sense, be someone else. But this sounds like it's actually you, like, finding, like, and seeing parts of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like you can't escape yourself, right? In some sense.
See, at certain points when you're trying to figure out the character which you are going to play, you have to find that relatedness somewhere, so that if you don't relate to me, you won't be friends with me, right? That's how. And as an actor, you have to find that relatedness where you think he's like you, or you can be friends with, and because we all have every emotion in us, it's just how much we express every emotion. And maybe somewhere I will get a negative character which I have never expressed, but it's in me, but I control it, I don't express it, but it's in me, so I discover that, so I relate to it. Yeah, मुझ में भी तो है ऐसा, but मैंने express नहीं किया, but ये express कर रहा है, So
And you had a role in Bajrangi Bhaijaan. I haven't seen the film, but so what was your role in that, and what was your experience like on that film? It was like a Bollywood big budget.
Yeah. I was playing a Hurriyat TV reporter who owns this channel, and Nawaz, who was playing the other character, would call me and tell me, please show it on your channel, and so that the kid gets her parents. But I'm like always कि मुझे क्या इससे मिलेगा, उससे क्या मुझे मिलेगा, and I don't find कि उससे मुझे कुछ और TRP बढ़ेंगे and all that. So it's a small role, but when I came on the set, so otherwise I had to rehearse for the camera, for the lighting and all that, but it was all done. So I came there and I was there, and then shooting began, and in half an hour something it was done, that shot. So it was easy for me, very comfortable and all that in that sense, because they had done everything and I just had to act.
And in terms of getting more roles in mainstream, did Bajrangi Bhaijaan help in that sense?
I don't think so, because I didn't get any offers, and I didn't expect that. To me, since childhood, I had a dream that to be an actor and do one role which is protagonist in that film. That has been achieved by Harud. Whatever I get is bonus. So that's why I'm not that much greedy about roles. And if people think that I have talent and I fit in their characters, I think they will approach me. Like it's happening now.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We're talking to Shahnawaz Bhat on Anything But Bollywood.
Hello there, my name is Naveen Narona, and as a gay person in India, I get asked a lot of stupid questions.
Beta, is it LGBT or eligibility?
How do two men procreate?
Bro, is Grindr better than Tinder or what?
We answer all these questions and much more on my podcast, Keeping It Queer, where I talk to individuals from the LGBT community in India and learn about their personal stories. Catch all the episodes on the IVM podcast app or any other podcasting app you like. Till then, keep it queer.
Okay, I don't know if this question is relevant to you anymore since you're doing so many things, but as an actor, a lot of the time you're like, I know now you said you're involved in many other things as well. So as an actor, usually people are like kind of, it's not in their hands, right, of getting that role. You're kind of dependent on a director or, to get a role. So what happens in that time where you're basically waiting in some sense? So I know you're doing many other things. So if you can talk about all those other things that you do besides.
Yeah, one thing is when I have ideal time, I watch other people's work. I read about it and I try to study. Since I'm interested in direction also, I study how it works and how they are doing. So I read direction books, I read screenwriting books, I read cinematography books, so that because I want to build a community in Kashmir where cinema is their way of expressing things, whatever the story is. So there are people coming up and doing their work, and it's in the very beginning stage, and I want to be a part of it, but I want to do it technically right, so that if 2-3 stories click internationally, then the focus will shift on Kashmir, and then we will have more scope. Our people will have more scope in that industry, and there will be more stories coming up. So apart from film direction or acting, I'm also interested in the community thing. So I did my master's in linguistics at Kashmiri University. So we were doing this project on language preservation, and I was part of it for 4 months. So we were preserving one language which is almost dying, tribal language. So I worked on it also, and other things.
So is there, what is right now in terms of what is happening in Kashmir in terms of the filmmaking? Are there filmmakers living and working in Kashmir? What is the status of or is it just basically people coming in to make films and leaving? So what is the community of filmmakers and creators in Kashmir like?
Kashmir has very limited filmmakers who want to make films right now. There's one film called Kashmir Daily, which has come up from Kashmir. It's about drug addiction. So Hussain Khan directed that. It took them 1 year or something. Mir Sarwar, who is playing my brother-in-law in this film Hafido, is doing the lead role in that. So there are other filmmakers who are making, or like there's one more director whom I know that he's interested. He has a story and he wants to direct it. And they are like teenagers. They are doing their small ads so that they get experience and small short movies. It's not that much because in Kashmir you have to have a survival also. So you have to balance everything like I'm doing. I'm balancing with education also and filmmaking also. Whoever clicks. And same way the other people they also have to have their livelihood. So they are balancing it. But once 2-3 movies come up, like Hafido is coming up and Noor is also focusing on it, and some other films also will be. And when once the spotlight is there, you will see that so much of talent will come up. Just in like, I think 5 to 10 years, it will be there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the beginning of something.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to go back to Half Widow. There's a recurring story in some sense in Half Widow and in Harud of disappeared men. And this is a big story about Kashmir. And a lot of films speak about it. So why do you think it's a story that needs to constantly like be repeated? And
Hafido was talking about how that family actually was affected, not how that family would protest and file their cases. It was more about their psychology, how they have suffered and how they are living with it and how it is affecting them every day. And Hafido...
sorry, you meant Harud then.
Harud, sorry.
Yeah.
And Hafido also talks about the same disappearance. My brother-in-law gets disappeared. And but it talks about more about women empowerment and how you come out of that grief and sorrow and how you find strength in that weakness. So she's going through this trauma. Her husband has gone and is missing. She had a child and that's also gone. Because of that, she fell down and she lost her baby. She has no meaning in her life. And how she finds meaning in that meaninglessness.
Yeah.
And how she goes about and tells her story and how she finds education as a means to say her story, not the other way around, that people will tell her story, but she wants herself to tell the narrative which is really close to her, and she finds peace with it, and she becomes a totally different person. And so in this film Hafido, there's a ray of hope. And in Harud we saw that the circle is again going to the where it began.
So what kinds of stories do you think need to be told about Kashmir that maybe people are not telling?
I think apart from the conflict stories which are there should be stories about the culture we have, the rich heritage we have, and the way people speak with each other. We always have this funny relationship with each other, and the way we speak and the way we dress and the way our food is, it's totally different. And I think stories about that human life which is not conditioned by enforcement or other thing, apart from that, how a Kashmiri is actually and how it was, and what is his story, what's a fisherwoman's story, or what's a tribal woman's story, or what's a downtown kid who wants to be a filmmaker or a rapper and doesn't have any means or doesn't have any clubs or theaters to go and show, and how he wants to tell his story and how he wants to be that person. So that struggle any story apart from conflict. There are so many stories.
Yeah, I know. That's something that I was thinking, that the Kashmir story has become the story of conflict, and while that is a big part of what is going on, I'm sure there are so many other sides to this.
Absolutely.
How has the way you approach your own practice as an artist changed with all the changes you've seen around you in Kashmir?
Can you put it in other words?
So, just for yourself, the way you work as an actor, or even the way you see things as a filmmaker, has that changed for you with the changes you've seen in Kashmir over the years?
Definitely, the change will be there since I grow up and since I meet new people, and there will be more introspect into what I am doing rather than what other people are doing to us, and I know there's so much of violence and everything which is going on, and which affects everyone. I have created a barrier between that and me, and because that will affect my work, and I find inspiration in the daily course people do, and I meet people and try to listen to their stories and how they are going, which is not completely based on conflict. I want to see them as an individual who can be in any part of the country, and how they are doing their daily lives, and see if I can find inspiration from that. We were doing one performance in downtown, and it was not based on dialogue, it was just performance art, and then we had one questionnaire. If you want to ask Chief Minister something, what would you ask? So there was this old lady, she said ke usko bolo sabjiyon ke daam badh gaye hain. So that was her story, that she was not talking about conflict. The other sumo wala, he said कि हमें यहाँ सोनमर्ग जाना पड़ता है, तो वहाँ पे 2 टोल टैक्स देने पड़ते हैं, अगर हम रात वहीं पे बिताते आते वक्त भी टोल टैक्स देना पड़ेगा, वो गलत बात है. And that was his story. And there were kids, young kids, who said that उसको बोलो कि जब तक मैं जिंदा हूँ मैं पथराव करूँगा. मैंने बोला कि क्या तुम यही बोलना चाहते हो कि जब तक मैं जिंदा हूँ तब तक मैं पथराव करूँगा, कि क्या, या तुम ये बोलना चाहते हो, means stone pelting, or you want to say, do you want me to do stone pelting forever? So then he was thinking, हाँ यही बोलना है मुझे. So you need to interact with people and give them other perspectives, because for these teenagers, they think stone pelting is only way of expressing their anger, but to me there are other forms of, and when we were performing, that was our goal, that there are other ways of means where you can express yourself rather than the stone or the gun, and people will be more interested in listening to those stories or those narratives if you choose, and it's up to you which suits you. But I think there are other ways. I'm not saying this is wrong, that's right, but I'm saying there are many other ways where you can express yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. There aren't any really mainstream Bollywood films that look at Kashmir with sensitivity. I mean, it either becomes about using Kashmir for its beauty, or otherwise it's a very kind of surface level thing of what is going on. So do you see that changing in terms of the mainstream, what the mainstream is doing?
Mainstream has the obligation to their financiers to get their money back. So I don't think mainstream will ever do that, to make a movie which talks about Kashmir and in a way which Kashmiris think is proper, because then it won't make money. Harud was in the theaters for a week, and like in Bombay and in Delhi we had a house full, but in Kolkata, like on one certain screen there were 5 people only, and Kolkata is center of culture and art and everything. So I don't think people in India are ready for serious art.
And what is the role you see of arts and creativity in Kashmir today? Not just necessarily filmmaking, but just as an outlet, like you were saying? I mean, is there a space to express?
There is space. Some spaces have been created. Like there's one Tagore Hall where theatrical performances are going on regularly, and there has been created one space at downtown, and we did one photo exhibition there, which had nothing to do with conflict. And where this space has been created is the most stone pelted area. Like it happens there on Friday and everything. Naushad Saab, he organized that festival there, like exhibition for these young photographers. So the spaces are coming up, new voices are coming up, and new art is coming up. It's a matter of time when you'll see like a new voice so prominent in Kashmir is coming up, like the writers which are like coming up with their stories.
And living in a conflict zone, and also living as an artist, you have to deal with kind of a lot of fears and some amount of uncertainty. So how have you figured out a way to kind of deal with it?
See, we live in Kashmir, and we have some cultural obligations also. So I cannot right away be an artist and my family will support me. Even though my family supports me in every way, but I have that psychological thing going on me that I have my parents who are going old day by day, and I have to have a steady job which will help them also and me also. And for art, I don't know, because this is my reality that in Kashmir there is no cinema, and Bollywood, I don't know when they will call me or whatever. But what I want to do is to tell stories of Kashmir, and for that I have to create a balance between to have some livelihood also there. So I think that's what I'm doing, and some people understand it, some artists, that you should have that balance there. Some don't, and they are suffering. Like we had Doordarshan Kendra in Kashmir, and it has been shut for like 6-7 years, and the actors, producers, they were wholly dependent on that, and it has been shut. Now they are frustrated and they don't have works, and their money is has gone, all the money has gone. So some have opened shops, some are selling chappals, some are selling these curtains, some are contractors now, and they think that their life has been wasted. Their 20 years in the art, they wasted their life because they cannot support their family. So if you want to stay in Kashmir, you have to have a balance there.
But I think that's kind of true a lot across the board. I mean, especially if you're not in a commercial industry, you're not out there for that commercial kind of this paycheck.
True.
Yeah. So what is it that you do then besides to support yourself?
Like I was working on this university project for language preservation, and I assisted people apart from acting, so I assist and I get that, and I work in a newspaper also. So that's how I support myself.
Okay, you work in a newspaper as
a manager or something.
Okay.
So it's for Ladakh.
Okay.
So I have been working with it since 7 years.
Oh, okay. What kinds of roles would you like to play as an actor? I mean, so far you've played a Kashmiri in all of your roles. So do you want to play roles that are non-Kashmiri?
Obviously, I would want to, and I'm going to play.
You have a new project?
I have a new project called Mr. Panwala. Mr. Vijay Bola, he's going to direct it, and it's a Lucknowi character, and it's one of my dream projects, because being in Kashmir, I wanted to do films which are not based in Kashmir, and I'm not playing a Kashmiri character, and it's the first film of that kind I'm doing.
Has that been a struggle for you to get people to see you that way, maybe as an Indian actor who can play any Indian role?
Yeah, it took me 8 years to get that role, but I never approached people to get the role. I want people to look at my work and then approach me if they think I fit the character, but not the other way around, because I'm not that much hungry for roles. I'm satisfied with what I'm doing, so whatever comes is a bliss. If it doesn't come, I'm blessed still.
Yeah, that's a good space to be in.
Yeah.
So, do you have any pointers for aspiring directors on how to direct actors in some sense, or what is like the environment that you need as an actor?
As an actor, the only thing I want from my director, apart from the instructions he gives me, what he wants the character to feel, or what he wants the character to do in that choreography, I want that trust to be developed between him and me, and he understands me as an individual and I understand him, and we get that bond of trust between each other. I think that's really important. If I don't have that with my director, I won't perform well. I get a little scared, or like, does he like it or does he not? If I have that trust between us, and I can be totally free and express myself to my full potential.
Do you have any advice for aspiring actors?
I think any aspiring actor should know what he wants to do, where he wants to be after certain years, and he should more focus on that rather than what people will say him, that you did that job and you are not worth it, or I don't think you will make it. He should have his competition with his own self, and he should have his targets, that this is my target, I want to achieve that, and I have to work for it, and really, really work for it. And once you find an opportunity, go for it. And it depends upon you, how you are thinking as an actor, how you want, whether you want to do small roles, big roles, or these roles. To me, it doesn't matter. For me, every role is a role in which I can show my talent. So whether it's a small role, big role, it's an opportunity to show yourself to the world. So I think of it that way. And I have my certain targets to achieve. So every actor has to have his own targets and believe in himself, that if he has that desire in him to believe in it and dream of it, and he can be that person.
And what is your target for you next?
I think I'm targeting world cinema, to be a part of it, not just India, but to work in international projects. That's my target. And that will come up, inshallah.
Yeah, I'm sure, inshallah. Do you have any film recommendation that you'd like to give for people? It can be any kind of film.
I was stunned by this film called Underground by this Serbian director,
Costa
Aamir.
Rica.
Yeah. The way I love shadows, so you see the shadows first, and then the energy of the actors, and I was stunned by, like, ऐसी भी acting होती है क्या? So the way they act, the way he has directed that film. So I would want everyone to watch it. It's a must for me. And the way actors perform in it, it's magical.
Okay, thank you for that. I tried watching Underground though. I don't know why, but I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I couldn't get through it. For some reason, I just, like, the acting was like, it took me out of it, like, a little bit.
But to me, it was amazing.
Okay, it just shows everybody's tastes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Shahnawaz, for being here.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. If you have any comments, feedbacks, or questions, we would love to hear from you. So tweet me at Neha R. Thak, or you can reach out to us on IVM Podcasts. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for listening.
As you can see, we have a podcast listener in his natural habitat. Millions of years of evolution have led him to this point. He's on his way to work, and listening to podcasts makes his miserable day better. He will now head to work and use all his knowledge to communicate with other colleagues and possibly future mates. You can find more of his species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out all the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.